Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of the Robot Wizard podcast. We're doing a special midweek recording session here, and we have a couple guests who we hope will be regulars to the show. We've got our buddies Vyurr and MadHatter. Say hi, fellas.
How's
Hello,
it going?
everyone.
Of course, we
Well,
both said it at the same time.
yeah, we're gonna work that out. We'll have like a flashing light that tells whose turn it is to talk.
Yeah, and we're trying a different connection utility this time to get everybody remoted in. So we're slowly finding the sweet spot of what's easy to use and what gives us good quality. So what we wanted to do tonight was talk about the upcoming Malak buff or Sith nerf, whatever you want to call it. But as we were all logging in tonight, it looks like we've got some new kit stuff getting dropped for the Galactic Republic Jedi. The General Kenobi, Jedi Knight Anakin, and Ahsoka Tano little Snips reworks have been published on the CG forums or the EA forums, right?
Yeah, it just popped up. We were actually gonna do this show to cover the nerf that happened to Sith Assassin, and that's how I'll be talking about it right now. It's not a rework of Malik, but just a crushing of our heart because we love Sith Assassin. But it turned out right when we were sitting down, the news dropped. So we're breaking news.
Yeah, so instead of getting all pissed off and having a stitch and bitch about Sith Assassin, let's look at our new toys that we can play with.
You know, it's probably in your audience's favor now that this happened because it wasn't going to be pretty.
Yeah, I agree, and I've been excited for. I mean, when they teased, or they didn't tease, they told us that they were gonna give us some reworks to these 3 Clone Wars characters. I was pumped because I love Clone Wars.
V loves Jedi's, so he must be like going crazy right now. What do you think, V? Do you like the reworks? What do you think about them?
Oh, they're going to be fantastic. I mean, I've had Anakin at Gear 12. It was kind of my guilty pleasure, I guess. Even though he sucked, it was Anakin. He had to go to Gear 12. So I think Hatter's in the same boat. I think he did it early as well.
Yeah, I did it early on as well. That was before I kind of fell in love with the Sith.
So real quick, the GK buff or the GK rework, whatever you want to call it, is really subtle. The Negotiator gives you an extra turn of those flipped buffs. He gets a little more turn meter, so it just sort of like levels, puts his power level a little more in line with all the modern kits that are coming out. And then his kit also has a little buff for Anakin and Ahsoka. And then there's a bit on his unique having to do with Galactic Republic allies and protection up, which to me screams initially when I read this, it screamed R2 and 3PO because they both have that tag and they both have protection up, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that is an amazing call. I hadn't had a chance to even think about it, but imagine the damage. I looked through this stuff quickly. There's a lot of assist stuff going on, and Anakin and Snips don't get the damage penalty when they're being called
Right.
Kenobi, which, I mean, they're going to be some huge hits there. And I think one of them goes multiple times, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so Anakin gets his V was saying like his buffs or his rework is also subtle. He gets, more damage on his the attack that he gets when he gets a free turn. And there's a protection up clause here. But I wanted to kind of shortcut to Ahsoka because her page here, the whole thing is pretty much green, so it's like it's all new kit. And
She
so
needed it the most.
did you?
And it was
did
one
you
of the
read
first
it?
characters I ever geared in this game, and I liked her back then. And I think this rework is amazing.
Yeah, who else used her for to slog through Galactic War? She was my go-to for that.
Really?
Yeah, I had a terrible inventory early on in the game, and I relied on Ahsoka with her because she was an attacker and she brought a heal. So she's got a Dispel on her basic, which is very Nihilus-esque. And doesn't one of the Jedis have a Dispel on basic that's broken?
I think Plo
Koon?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that super secret Revan 5th character that people are making videos about. Yeah, so Dispel on basic. And so, man, Dispel on basic and Dispel herself and another Galactic Republic ally. And can't be evaded if it has Foresight. So that's kind of like a mini... Does someone else have that's like an L3 cleanse? So that's like a Nihilus basic, an L3 cleanse.
Passive cleansing is very...
And a Wampa basic.
Things he does. Like, Nihilus is amazing for a lot of reasons, but I always thought that the spell on basic was one of the most powerful things in his kit.
It's so clutch. It's like a special move every turn.
All together. I mean, this is going to be... I can't imagine this not being a lot of fun to play with, at least.
Yeah, it's super cool. I mean, it makes them at least as fun of a team to use as like a good bounty hunters team, or something that people actually use in Territory Wars and Grand Arena. So we can use these Clone Wars characters again. That's awesome.
And more theory means more podcasts, and this is great. I don't know what I would do without a podcast now.
So, V and Hatter you guys have way better Jedi inventories than me and Myth do. What do you like looking at these kits? What are you guys thinking? Like, how are you going to use them?
Well, go ahead, V. I'm still trying to digest it myself. This is the first time I've seen it. It was this evening.
Okay, well, I'm looking at Ahsoka, and what I'm seeing is crazy assists, and then triple taps, and then when I first read GK's kit rework, and I'm looking at the protection up, it didn't make a lot of sense until I went and dove into the other two kits. And when you see that Ahsoka is going to be granting protection up, all allies are going to recover health, and all Galactic Republic allies are going to grant protection up for one turn. It all kind of starts to make sense. And then she's going to be assisting when any one of them uses a special ability. She's going to be triple tapping. I feel like she's going to be going like crazy. She's going to be like a mini Grandmaster Yoda almost. I feel like she's going to be going a ton.
Oh, that's a good call.
Who else triple taps? Leia. That's it. Triple tap.
Candor's.
Yeah, but she's going to be a guaranteed triple tap, right? If you've got all Galactic Republic, she's going to be a guaranteed triple tap. That's right.
Cool. That's really cool.
Without thinking about this at all, do you think any of this might be a counter to Darth Revan and Malak? Is there anything here that like rings any bells to you guys?
No,
I don't think so.
You're cleansing. They debuff themselves, right? You're cleansing buffs. I think it's going to be a great Revan, like Jedi Knight Revan counter potentially, but I don't see it being a Darth Revan counter at this point.
Because DR still gains even when we debuff him. So
yeah, Darth Revan is like inverse everything. It's kind of crazy.
Exactly. The more things you take away from him, the stronger he is.
Yeah,
I love that about him. I thought that was so clever. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't take any of that away from them. You can't cleanse an enemy's debuff. So it was a way to they kind of flip the whole game on their head by doing something different.
Yeah, Myth, I don't know if you've noticed, but on my videos, a lot of my gameplay is a lot slower than it usually is because I still have to sit there and think about okay, I have to look at the character. Do they have corrupted battle meditation? What does that mean? Can I apply debuffs? Is this going to work? Do I have to save the ability for later? It's definitely made it so that I have to think hard about every single move, which is cool. I like the puzzle aspect of the game.
Yeah, it didn't occur to me in a kind of straightforward way like you just said it, but it's now that I think about it, you have to really understand the mechanics and I mean this is a lot of fun. This is a video game we're playing. We're doing it for fun, and sometimes it can become a drag. Repetitive battles or 4-minute mirror matches with 47,000 buffs going around, but it's changed and it is interesting and engaging, and I like it too. I think it's terrific.
So,
Yeah,
so as I'm reading through the the new kit for these three characters, I keep coming back to who's the leader. What do you guys think about that?
That's a really good question.
GK, I'm thinking all day long.
Yeah, I guess it has to be. Is there
But I mean,
another galactic?
that's all health. That's all health based, though, right?
I have one for you, Rex.
Well,
well,
sexy
wait,
Rexy, right? I mean, at the end of the
hang
day.
on. Does he have any? So it depends on if he has Galactic Republic stuff tagged in his. Why am I on Jedi?
I saw
I'm
something
never
where
on Jedi.
that might be reworking the clones or adding some.
Oh,
some
I hope so. I hope
some
so.
random Discord rumor post, but I mean, they would at least have synergy, I guess, because at least they get all the Galactic Republic benefits from having a full team, even though they're using Rex lead.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I wonder about whether or not it's GK is just because his leader ability primarily deals with health and defense. I mean, in order for this team to be very successful, I mean, we really need something that's potentially offensive.
Yeah.
I'm not a big defensive or health type. I usually don't put those kind of leaders in in there for their leader ability. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Unless you're going like GA full defense.
So Anakin, what's Anakin's lead? Let me see.
What about Mace? 20% offense, 9% crit chance, recover 5% max health when they score a crit.
Well, if he had his territory war buff, sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, that would be crazy. There's a lot of, that brings so many different mechanics to it. I think people are given a lot of people don't like those buff territory wars, but I think they're fun.
They're fun.
They at least add some variety to things. Unless you're like me in the last one, I didn't read up on it beforehand, so I was like, I was out of time and trying to figure out what to do on the fly.
We're usually doing that anyway. Oh, in case anybody's wondering, we're all in the same guild. So it's like one big family here. So instead of chatting and typing all night, we figured, hey, let's just connect and do it.
There we go.
Hang on. So I'm trying to look at the difference between Anakin's current leader ability and the quote-unquote improved one. And the only green text is the word have. So they gain half that amount is what it currently says. And that is being changed to allies have half that amount. So I wonder if that means, is that something that would have been neutered by Jedi Revan's lead, like how Bastila's like turn meter gain at the start of battle? Is that like a start of the battle thing?
I think that's what it is. It's a really good call, man. What a catch. That it's considered part of their kit and not something added to their kit. It's a small thing, but by the wording, and the wording always means something. I think you're dead on. Good call.
It would improve something, and I'm not sure what that is. Like,
yeah. What do you guys think about Qui-Gon as the lead?
Ooh,
let's look at that lead.
I mean, Qui-Gon to me looks like an interesting lead for this team potentially, just mainly because he's getting 30% speed. He's gaining offense equal to 3 times their speed and gaining foresight for 2 turns.
Oh, man.
Counter.
That would be like okay, that sounds, holy smokes, Hatter. That's like a mini Revan team.
It's interesting.
It's 10 speed less than Revan, and there's a hint of foresight spam.
Well, I'm thinking, what if you do something like Qui-Gon, these 3 that are basically getting their rework, and throw a BB-8 in there. Because BB-8's going to jump the speed and then also spread the foresight around as well.
Well, BB-8 needs a droid to do that, I think. So BB-8 and R2.
Well, you could.
Oh, wait. No, there's only one more slot. If you're running Qui-Gon lead.
It's funny, Hatter. I looked at that and I'm like, well, he just, Qui-Gon doesn't have the Galactic Republic tag, but yeah, he sure does. So that's
he does.
Good call.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I've got my other phone up and I'm just kind of looking through the tags because the green text in those in what they're changing is great, but it's trying to see where they're coming from is what I'm trying to figure out right this second.
What if they gave like Clone Sergeant or Echo like a subtle change where they like if Echo assisted Jedi.
I thought that cool. I'd like that. The small things that we can exploit and build plans around, the better.
Like if there was a little bit more around Echo's kit with Galactic Republic or Jedi, or if he was just flat out better, you could throw him in because his dispel is great.
I think you just wanted to talk about him because you wanted to show your gold clones.
Well, he's not one of my gold clones.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other gold clones there.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely put the Zeta on 5s just because.
I mean, I have a Gear 12 Qui-Gon, so I'm doing a little dance here now. If that's the case.
So hang on, I want to ask Vyurr and Hatter a question. So you guys, I have login rewards. You guys run multiple Jedi teams in Grand Arena, right?
I really don't. I tend to keep a lot of my offensive teams for offense, and right now the thing that's been, well, let me go back and make sure I'm not storing to you, but most of my teams at this point tend to be Night Sister, Bounty Hunter. And I'll just name them all real quick. Just let me get a second to get to my roster. I've been running dual Bounty Hunters, a Night Sister, an OR team, a Scoundrel team, a Droid team, and then I usually flex in either a JKR or a Jedi Knight, or a DR team, depending on my opponent.
Right. So a lot of those like tweener, like the non-meta teams that you just said are really good teams. But I think that like the this maybe new Jedi team that we're talking about could possibly maybe cut through like Bosk or one of those like tweener meta team like Bosk or First Order. Like those teams I still have problem. Like if I have to use troopers for Night Sisters or something like that, I have to think about what I use against Bosk because you can't just roll in with a bunch of scrubs.
No, you're exactly right. I've actually been kind of thinking about this rework here in terms of GA is if you run with a GK lead, then you could put this team on defense. If you're going to try the offensive side, of GA, then I think you need to come up with, like a good leader like Qui-Gon or somebody like that. I think as far as TW and GA goes, I think there's some options. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
And so one of the reasons, so I was trying to gather the gang together, like this is the gang, and there's some people missing here who hopefully we can get on one day, is that we wanted to talk about TW, and that's a lot of our focus and a lot of our conversations and our back and forth, as we're chatting through the day. And I think it's fascinating, and it's something I love doing with you guys. And, diving into that with a group of people instead of just one or two, I think could be a really cool thing that sort of echoes what other guilds are going through.
Yeah, for me on Grand Arena and territory, like the Jedi are the anchor for my defense actually, which is, and it's funny that Hatter doesn't kind of run them on D because I totally stole his idea in how I run my Jedi and defense because I run a Bass lead with Jolie and Grandmaster Yoda and Hoda and Old Ben because under Bass Old Ben gets the pre-taunt, which is just a dirty team. And then I run Revan kind of like full offense mode. So I've got like Revan with like GK and then Anakin and Qui-Gon and Ezra. Like I said, totally stole that from Hatter though, because that Bass team has caught every opponent in Grand Arena I've run up against yet because they look at it and they go, well, they throw their big stuff at the Revan and then they get stuck on Bast because it's all heals all day long. It's just dirty. So yes, we run a little different that way. The Jedi are definitely my defense, and then I keep my my Darth Revan on offense to burn down their Revan, and then I have up till next week with the EP cheese is how I took out their Darth.
Rest in
Revan.
peace.
So,
yeah, I tried that for a while with in my GP, I think I have to put out one more team than you guys currently are. You guys doing 7 teams? You have to lay out. Okay,
I'm doing 6, but I'm on the cusp of 7.
Right. So that 7, that when I crossed the boundary from 6 to 7 is kind of when I rolled out of keeping that team. I called it my asshole team, I think, is what I called it here, right? Okay, because it's just a pain in the ass. I mean, it really is. It serves no purpose other than to time people out. And the thing that I found is when I rolled up to 7, all of a sudden it stopped working. And I think it's because now you're going up against people who have, let's face it. I mean, I'm going up against guys who have, I think my last opponent had 92 G12s.
Woof.
You know what I'm saying? And I think I showed the speed mod, the mods, the mod delta. This guy had literally 30% more speed, basically just mods across the board than I did. Yeah. And so I keep running into at least one of those people every GA. And so that's the reason why I've kind of reserved which teams that I kind of put out there, because it gets to be some sort of a little bit of a fashion show on who wins, because we're clearing each other. That's not the problem. It's about who does it the most efficiently. Now, this last GA I did a little different. I put out my DR and my JKR out on defense. I was just not feeling it today, so I threw it all out there. So we'll see how that goes. But because I lost that first match, but anyways,
man, every time you've sent me a screenshot of like so Hatter will send me screenshots of like what teams he's putting out, and like, he'll be like, hey, which one of these should I use? And I look at it and I'm like, oh dude, I don't know. And I'll I'll try and say something clever. And then he shows me the screenshot of what they put out against him, and I'm just like, oh my god, I wish I had all those teams.
Well, but
it looks so hard.
Is that you're going up against people who are putting out the meta. Basically, they're throwing out on D. The last 4 or 5 metas that we have.
Yeah, you're having to tear down everything. So if you basically
throw that out on you, because what I'm finding is people want to throw that stuff out on defense. Okay, and I would say 75% or 80% of the matches that I roll into, people are putting the last 4 or 5 metas out on D. So if I do the same at the end of the day, then I mean, literally, it's a very ugly match. You know what I mean? If I can come up with one team to trip them up or two, and I don't like this GA format we're in right now, where you throw all 17. Right,
you can't hide any of the squads.
Yeah, you can't hide anything, so that kind of sucks. I would rather throw like my BH and Bounty Hunter up front in one top, like a top tier, and then basically give them some soft targets down front. Typically, human behavior is to go for the soft targets first, and then they roll up into those, and you stick a DR or JKR in the back zone.
Oh man, when I see not their best defense like on the front node, I always I don't use good teams on purpose, because I save them, and then if like they clear me super efficiently, they'll win, because I'll waste banners because I try to like win with a budget team to save like my best stuff in case they're holding their best stuff in the back row.
Yeah, and I see that over and over and over again. And so that's the reason why, like, for me, what seems to work is if I can put a little sleepy team and then super mod them going into GA, that usually catches somebody off balance.
Yeah, that's a good strat.
And it's funny.
Lowest common denominator thing, where it's what's the weakest team I could use to beat what's out there. Yeah. But I know everybody's looking at efficiency in certain ways, but the better you get at that, the more you could put on defense, knowing that you could still either possibly clear them or are still going to beat them because you put so much out on defense because it's so strong. And we do that in territory wars too, where we practice using squads that aren't the mirror for Jedi Knight Revan, using CLS so that we can increase the amount of Jedi Knight Revans we put on defense. And we're currently doing the same thing with Darth Revan. If we can beat them with another squad, then we can put as many as we want out and still know that we can take them down when the time comes.
Oh man, Myth. So speaking of that, what's our what do you guys think our go-to counter should be for Darth Revan now?
I mean, this is a mess. We tried so many. I tried so many things today. I was out of like turns in arena by like noon, which I know sounds insane, but you got to put the work in, you know.
Yeah,
So,
I spent 5 battles trying to make CLS and bays work, and I got really lucky on the 5th battle and won, and then moved up to like 32nd rank.
I think I tried 10 Rex battles.
Well, one of the things that I've been talking to, a shardmate about PRs, because we were talking about this change and and how it's going to affect things. Because you're right, it is going to blow up TW and GA. I mean, at that point, the EP, the EP cheese is gone. You got to have your CLS completely dialed in to even have a chance. I mean, there's lots of things you have to do, and your options are very limited.
So CLS to work for my testing today has to be faster than Darth Revan, or you don't have a shot in hell.
Yeah.
The second Zeta on Malak, which gives the opposition fear, basically shuts Chewie down for the entire battle because all he's doing is hitting Malak.
Mm-hmm.
The Rex thing was just a shot in the dark to see if I could find something that would be fast enough to get on top of them. And it works for about 30 seconds, and then it's like a nuclear bomb drops on your team and everyone's gone. You're not exactly sure what just happened, to the point where I can't even recreate the battles in my head. So I was able to win with CLS if he was faster, but the only lineup I was able to come up with that actually worked was Darth Revan lead with Thrawn as a support.
Well, you got to remember the Malak character. He basically, his damage is based upon the health of his opponent, right? I mean, at least that's the way I read it. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yes.
Okay, and so, that may be one of those cases where, I hate to say it, but you're trying to minimize health and and maximize protection, if you will, to be able to survive. I don't know I don't even know how that's possible, but it was something that went through my mind.
I tried some direct attacks on Malak in my testing today. I mean, like I would kill Bastila, and then I have to turn my target to somebody else. And I managed to get him fractured. So he cannot do anything. And I tried to kill him with Han, Chewie, and CLS. Now, he doesn't take health-based damage, which helps him. But once he dropped below 50%, it was like I felt like quicksand, that he was just drawing me in, and there was absolutely no way, no matter what I did, no matter how big the hits were, that he was going to die.
It's like DN at the end, whenever you're battling him, and he's in a Traya team.
Except it's can we curse now? It's after 10 o'clock. Except they're fucking with you, because his meter is red. Yeah, his meter is green. I've given up at this point, but it's like, have you ever seen a meter go down to red and you're like, there's no way it could get less than that, and then you get a hit. It happens in Fleet all the time, and then it's like half the size, and they're still hanging on by a thread, and that's what happens to him every single battle. You cannot attack him through the front door.
The last TW with using ST hand, I ran a shit team against I think it was a Night Sister team, and it just annihilated them. But it looked like they were all dead. They kept chugging away.
I'm just throwing this out there. What if you run like a CLS Han Chewie with 2 taunters, like a GK for the cleanse and then an L3 for the pre-taunt, and L3
GK. Ooh,
I don't mind.
So earlier today I had this like idea about so I just showed a battle where this morning I spent 5 battles running bays as the tank for the pre-taunt.
Yeah.
And I kept on running into the situation where he started out well, and then insanity goes, and then the taunt's gone, and then I get really screwed over. But Old Ben's taunt Zeta, like, if you could make the problem with Old Ben is that he's so slow, he's not a pre-taunt. If you could maybe run 2 tanks, Old Ben's taunt will persist after a dispel, which I'm not sure if that idea can go anywhere, but
Well, he's also
wanna-
you
high
got to find somebody then.
yeah.
his defense is high too, so he can take a lot of pounding. In fact, it's one of the highest defenses I think in the game if you look up the stats. So it'll work on both ends.
In that game you just showed, or that match you just showed, what was your base's tenacity?
Let me go look at it. Hang on
Why
a
don't we go to
second.
the instant replay, Brink?
Yeah, no, let me pull up my account.
We are famous for Galaxy of Heroes instant replay. We're
I'm
with
on,
the
I'm
thing.
on Mist's account. Hang
And
on.
everyone's tuning in just for the instant replay. Groundbreaking.
Hey, Myth, while he's checking that out, did you see those 2 videos I threw you today?
I did, and I saved them, and I'd like to show them because they're pretty amazing. The only hesitation I have to show them is because it's working on Malak versus Malak with low speed, and there's going to be a lot of people out there who are upset that all we're doing is catering to the people who got Malak, and I'm one of them. I hate you guys. I don't even want to be talking to you right now, but we're in the same guild. We have to do this.
Yeah. So Hatter, 44% tenacity, and I've got
So it's
I
not
think I
that
just
high,
have
right?
health sets with protection primaries, and that's it.
Gotcha.
Actually, it's a good idea. Why don't we check out the one I made with Thrawn that shows a success, and then we can actually show Hatter's video because there is going to be a segment of people out there who want to figure out how they can win with Darth Revan and Malak if they're slower. And I think Hatter's video actually shows it perfectly. It's a lot of cool stuff.
Where do we have that one?
It's on the playlist.
Okay.
While we're looking that up, just going back to L3, I was running L3 and CLS with Darth Revan at the beginning, and why that worked. I mean, CLS is faster than base speed, so he could feed the turn meter and kind of get things ahead. But what was nice about L3 being in that team is that L3 was the only scoundrel, so she was self-cleansing constantly and then throwing the taunt up constantly, which was super annoying, I'm sure, for opponents. So I think there's something maybe in that we can look at too. Wouldn't work with the CLS Han Chewie, but definitely something to consider.
There you go.
Okay. So you're doing Thrawn swap over to Bastila. That makes sense. Early fracture. That's awesome. All right, so this is looking bad for you because you've got Deathmark on your leader already. Okay, so he's... Ooh, well, that was nice. That was nice.
Just takes a little time to develop, but it's there. It's solid. You don't get destroyed right away.
It's funny how Deathmark just pops up out of nowhere. It surprises me every time.
Okay, why didn't you take out Malak then?
Because Malak is impossible to kill, and I tried it.
You had the one
shot before.
You had HK special up though, didn't you?
I've actually used HK special on Malak and not killed him before.
Oh.
And so basically from reading his kit, and you don't have to go through it line by line, it's screaming just leave him alone and kill everybody else and pray.
Okay. So are you running full CD mods on your HK?
Yeah, now my HK is modded to the nines. He's only 171 speed, but I have some specialty crit damage sets that have high offense percentage secondaries that are raising his offense to like 4,400, and so he hits like a brick house. And we've talked about this in past videos. A lot of people have said to me, "Don't why put more offense or crit damage on HK? He hits so hard." And my answer is because a lot of that is Jedi based, and I need to get 100,000 hits versus other people. Jedi Knight Revan is fading away right now, and it'll be part of the meta. But our challenge is to beat other Darth Revan teams, and now Darth Revan with Malak because I don't have them. So watching HK-47, hitting Malak for 100,000 and being confident in that shot is going to be a big thing.
So what was your damage again on HK? Were you up around right at 4,000?
Let's check it out.
because I'm running him at about 230 right now on speed.
You know, with all the buffs they get, I feel like, especially for him, sort of going later and kind of swooping in and destroying everybody is better. So I don't mind him being slower. None of his first moves.
I like him to be right behind my D-Bast, because that way when she drops her bomb on the special, he drops his bomb on the special, and that puts everybody behind the curve.
If I could set that up ideally, I guess I would. But more importantly for me is
449. Okay, I got it.
And then still having 222 crit damage. So he's just has this, and they're multiplying offense. You know, it's stacking every turn, and so it's just you know, this crazy amount. So when he comes up, which isn't as often, absolutely, I know that I'm going to get a kill shot.
Gotcha.
It's one way to do it. I know it might not be right, but the truth is I just love watching giant numbers and people disintegrate. So
see, for me, the way I've got my HK set up, and it's a little different, is I'm running, you know, basically a CD set on him, but and obviously I'm looking for offensive secondaries, but I've got a really nice CD offensive triangle on him. And I don't know. I tried the CD, a CD on him, and I just didn't feel like it ran as well. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on why.
Offense and CD is a good combination.
It seems like I had more success with the offensive triangle on him.
Well, his AoE doesn't crit, so if you get more damage out on the AoE, you're more likely to. Well, there's a better chance that you can get Death Mark out early.
That's very true. But I'm fortunate in this because, well, let me just show you. I think we went through this in one of the other videos, but God, who knows? There's so much content coming out of the Robot Wizard. We can't even keep track of it at this point. But I don't have to really choose because I have mods like this.
Yep.
So if I put
you asshole.
If I put my best offensive sets on, I'm not going to get as much damage as putting this set on.
And what's your speed on them?
170 something.
Yeah, so I went nuts with I tried to mod him like yours, and I was way short on the damage, and I was also short on speed.
There was a time when 6-stop mods came out, and everyone was going crazy over speed, which I did too. But I just saw that offense percentage tripled. It's something I had noticed back in the day, that you can't get a high number for that stat, and it stunk. You know, it would be a nice thing to be able to use a crit damage set and get a high percentage raised. And once I saw that, I was like, wow, this is a cool opportunity. Let me see what I have in my inventory to slice that's already high. And it's a guaranteed triple, and it becomes 6-dot. So I just kind of went through all of them, and I got them done.
Are you guys having any trouble in Revan versus Revan matches? Or, sorry, Darth Revan versus Darth Revan matches?
I am not.
Just with Sin.
I am still having problems with it. I'm not sure if it's my Gear 11 Revan, or I just haven't figured out the mod and turn order thing, or I'm just playing it like a bozo.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to see a video that's close to probably what you're encountering with Sin, that'll be that one video of me and Hawkins.
It's MadHatter versus Hawkins.
Hawkins can be beat on speed, but I can consistently beat him.
Yeah, let me pull that up.
So MadHatter versus Hawkins. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Now it's going to show all his mods, so just bear with me because I thought that would be helpful.
No, the people love the mods. 326. That's not.
I want everyone
average.
to be prepared for the awesomeness that is MadHatter. And I'm not saying this facetiously. I mean it.
You have a guy named Sexual
I
Chocolate in your
battle.
chart.
Yeah, I have Sexual Chocolate in my chart, man.
It's like poetry.
Hey, I thought I shared his avatar with you from his Discord.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I must have forgotten.
It's that guy from Coming to America.
Yeah.
That's his avatar.
Love it.
Now Hawkins is about as good as it gets on mods for the most part. I mean, Sin and Hawkins are kind of very, very close. Obviously, he's got both Zetas on his Malak, and even though he's got a lot of damage built into his tunes, they're still all very quick. So these are mine.
Do you think Hawkins will listen to this podcast?
He could.
All right, let's get him. So we shouldn't say anything negative about him, right?
Oh, I you know me, Myth. I talk to Hawkins all the time.
All right.
Hawkins, your name is not as cool as sexual chocolate.
We got to get him on here and just ask him about that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the soul glow, I feel like.
Yeah.
Let's just say that Hawkins is diving to the depths of the ocean.
In just a second.
And yet he might not be a fish. He might be a mammal.
Now, this is one thing that's different about my teams is that Sit is actually kind of
Oh man, you've got
fast.
a ton of armor.
He's got a ton of armor, a ton of protection. He's quick.
Yeah, you know, I recently discovered that you can auto a team with Nest with Darth Revan because Sith Trooper cuts through protection, goes straight for health.
Oh, that's a cool little trick. I like that. See, we're learning too. We're not just educating; we're learners right now.
Oh man.
See, my Sit hits hard, man.
Yeah.
Just watch.
Oh, he's gone.
They disintegrated. Hawkins has some of the best mods, like from what I've seen from Hatter of any person. Look, he's destroying that team.
There's one hit. Hit him. Boom.
Not even a crit.
This is a pretty cool battle, though. It's just like one shot.
It's just murders.
This is why the new meta is so much better than the old one. You
So
have
much
battles
better.
like this, which are interesting, and you can actually keep someone's attention.
The battle is not even a minute long.
But look how much
this
has happened.
is full on slugfest.
This is like Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa facing off. Just a home run.
One
hits.
man standing.
I have yet to, they have those one-on-one tournament things. I have yet to see when I faced Malak one-on-one with any tune and him survive. I think he's the best one ever.
He just sucks the life out of them.
He literally sucks the life out of people.
Oh, that was a. I'm rewinding. I like to see the damage
like
numbers.
Zion, Nihilus, and I don't know, and we'll just put them all into one character and make it really hard to get them.
There's a 28,000 hiding in there. I saw it.
Yeah.
And then to kick you in the ass, we're just going to change his kit later on so it nerfs the character you've been working on for 3 weeks.
Oh man.
There she is.
I like your Sit.
Sit hits like I always am amazed how hard Sit hits, and it's just about the. I think it has more to do with the way he's. I think it's got more to do with his protection and his and that armor. I just can't figure out why though, because he doesn't have high offensive stats, but he hits like a hammer.
You guys, I think I want to change the way my Bastila is modded and put a crit damage triangle on her. That is a 53,000 damage crit.
Yeah, she's
honestly. I've been talking about that AoE crit since she came out because I waded into her waters faster than everyone else, and I saw very good numbers, knowing that later on she was going to be part of something. 53,000 AoE. All you have to do is target someone with shock.
Ooh,
And the whole team gets
drilled.
electrified.
No. Do you guys see that? 95,000. And she didn't die.
But folks, that's why it's important to put offense on HK-47 with crit damage. Because if they had it, she might have died.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to his HK-47.
Hitting Malak. Oh, yeah.
He just got a lucky crit. Like, he just got a big old crit because his damage is, like under 4,000. He's got the double crit damage, though. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the team's fun to play with. You get a lot of big damage numbers really frequently, and a lot of deaths really fast.
Yeah.
I brought this up. Oh, go ahead there, Hatter.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. I see that pretty frequent with HK on one-hitting characters. I like I said, Does anyone know if there's a speed component that we're missing somewhere in how he's, or why he has that frequency of success?
What do you mean? Why he gets faster?
He's pretty quick as far as HKs go.
Yeah, sure. Well, they're getting speed per debuff. That's why mine is so slow. I know that in the first 15 seconds of the match he's going to be slow, but after 1 or 2 turns he's going to gain like 150 speed. So at that point, how much could you possibly need to make him better? And so I can get a 320 speed HK instead of say 370, but have him hit 20% harder. I just want him to hit harder.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you got to remember your opponent's doing the same thing.
Well, it might be. I just assume my opponent's not doing the same thing, but that's just me. I'm a little arrogant.
No, I meant like the speed buffs. I mean, is what I'm trying to say.
No, I'm joking with you.
Yeah.
It's late, folks. The daytime shows are completely different.
I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, that other match that I had against the double Revan team was just ridiculous. It was over in a heartbeat.
I didn't save that onto the playlist, but if you text it to me, I could load it up.
Yeah, it was. Have you guys seen the JKA, the DR JKR gimme team that some people are trying?
No. What is that?
Okay. Let me flick it at you guys.
So while we're doing that,
Brink, is it easier to throw it to you?
Throw it to me.
Okay.
while we're doing that, I mentioned this on the Robot Wizard Discord earlier, but if people are looking for which Zeta to drop on Malak first, I had done I can't remember which one it is, but I had done the other one, not Jaws of Life, first, and in hindsight, I think until we get Darth Malak to 7 stars, I think the Jaws of Life is definitely the one you need to do first, just for the simple fact that that bonus turn is going to that he gets when he hits those thresholds, and he can do the drain life, is going to be, because it doesn't affect his turn meter, it's just a bonus turn, is going to keep him around a lot longer, because I used him with the first Zeta and with 0 success through the second Zeta on him, and it really changed the game for me.
The one that that's the one that that Zeta reduces or increases the frequency of his little annihilate.
It's the one that as he hits each threshold of health, he takes a bonus turn, and it reduces the drain life to turn the cooldown to 0.
Yeah, that one is like that Zeta is an MFer to play against, because like if you start making progress against him, or you're stuck on his taunt and you start to get him down, like you might be able to kill him, he just comes back and like eats somebody.
Yeah, so I think if you're kind of working through Malak right now, and you're gearing him up, and you're working through his abilities, I think that's the one you do first. The other one's great. I mean, both of them, you need both. But at the end of the day, if you're kind of trying to throw Malak into your arena team, I would definitely suggest doing the Jaws of Life one first.
Can I ask a question?
No.
Which Zeta
No, I'm sorry. But question serious.
Which Zeta do you give him if you don't have Malak? You just sit here and say, "Oh, I'm one of 4 people right now who don't have Malak, and I'm just going to go sit in the corner and not talk about this now."
Go use your Zeta Thrawn lead.
I've actually heard a double Zeta Thrawn is something to behold. I have 0 Zetas on Thrawn, and I've been shamed for it ever since I joined Rebel Rogues. So
I don't even understand how you get to this point in the game without at least giving 1 Zeta to Thrawn.
Some of us have 2, right, Myth?
I've had 2 Zetas on Thrawn since before he was conceived. It was the Immaculate Conception.
I remember when you were running Thrawn lead in Arena, and this was when this was right before I tried to discover you guys on Discord, and I think that Thrawn lead does the crazy thing where the AI doesn't know what to do, and it just does the cleanse whenever it can. And I still lost against you most of the time. You were still wrecking me.
I emailed the devs about that, just yelling at them. I'm like, how could you do this? He's amazing.
Okay. So you're talking about, so you just plug in Revan and Grandmaster Yoda?
Yeah. This has been on our shard for a few days. This guy's able to climb relatively well with it.
Interesting.
But, I mean, he's an hour payout in front of me, and it's just funny to look at the team. He's guy.
Dead.
Yeah, I mean, it's so quick.
Well, if it climbs,
Look at Savior activating there. So I mean, it makes Yoda survivable on a team where there's nothing else going on from the leader.
Oh, that's crazy. Savior's a unique, so it works when he's just sitting there, not the leader. I'd never thought of it that way.
He sent me both of those videos earlier, and when I saw the one with JKR, I was like, that's broken. Something that one doesn't make sense. But the other one with Hawkins was just like, holy cow! Like,
yeah, this is. I was just trying to video some of the unique teams that I see people trying.
I've seen a Chewbacca variant of Darth Revan, and it actually it worked pretty well to protect against the Emperor Palpatine cheese counter.
Mm-hmm.
I almost lost to that one twice, barely eked out a win, and then I learned, like, oh yeah, take care of Chewie, because Chewie, like, eats Darth Nihilus for breakfast.
But isn't that amazing? No matter what comp he's in, if Chewie's there, you got to take care of him, or he's going to give you problems.
What a beast.
He is.
It's either that, or you got to give him someone to beat on while you kill everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe there's I was thinking maybe we could talk about the just quick, because we've been trying to do this for a week now. The Han TW buffs.
Yes.
And I was hoping also, Hatter. I know you've been having a little problem with the Night Sister, so maybe we could go through my Thrawn Night Sister video.
That'd be great.
You want to do the Thrawn Night Sister video?
And I'm joking with Hatter because we talk about this a lot, obviously.
I can't stand Night Sisters because it's so unpredictable.
So I
same.
Just pause that for a second. I was having an incredibly hard time trying to figure out what to use in Grand Arena against Night Sisters. And I've been trying to force the issue with Imperial Troopers, and I realized mine aren't very good. And I had been running this squad for like 6 months straight. I know it really well, so why not go back to it?
This was the one that you were autoing everybody with. Yeah. Myth was autoing a bunch of meta teams with this team at one point. You spent a week figuring out the right way to like mod Shore Trooper or something, so that I forget what. So like Thrawn would swap to the right guy.
I at one point had made Shore Trooper my weakest health and protection tune just so Thrawn would swap to it.
Yeah. And I remember reading that and being like, what? That sounds stupid. And then you showed me video of like you autoing like 3 people.
But
well, so the interesting thing about this team is that, I mean, I've been experimenting with it, and I mean, I hate to say, but I've actually lost probably. I mean, I've yet to win with it, but each time I've been going up against a pretty strong NS team, and I think that the Stark Zeta is the engine that makes this one run.
Oh man, I remember when you did that, Myth.
There's about, I don't know how many people are going to listen to this, but at least like say 100 people who are going to groan after hearing that. But
there are dozens of us.
There's exactly lots of people raising their hands and say, but you know what? And Hatter, you had said that to me, and that never occurred to me, because basically the second Stark was out, I Zeta'd him because I just loved Empire and I was running them at the time. But I think you're right. There's Terminator loss, and he's becoming harder to kill. He gets protection regen, and in the end, why this team works is twofold. They have the death mark, which you're seeing. We're just going one by one and assassinating somebody with it so that they cannot come back. But it's also, they're stout. It's very difficult to kill them. They're regaining protection on every buff, on debuff. They're gaining Terminator on every debuff. DT and DK gain health from DT's unique. Stark gains health and protection from his own. So there's a lot going on here, and it makes him very difficult to kill.
Yeah. I just know that I've been running it with a team that's got, I'm gonna call it middle of the road mods, and like I said, I'm not seeing the result that you are.
I'll tell you one of the reasons why. Some teams in this game, you plug them in, you hit a couple buttons, and they work. I spent so long using them. It's that maneuverability is like it's like a symphony. You if you understand, like, because you played so many battles, and I played so many. I got through CLS with Thrawn. I got through JTR with Thrawn. It was the only thing I had at the time, and I had to make it work, and it did. But when to cleanse to drop your cooldown, when to cleanse so you could drop your cooldown to swap the shore to raise. After you use it long enough, and you get a feel for it, you're gonna see that it's like it's subtle. And once you get that feel, you're gonna realize it's one of the best teams you'll ever run, and one of the most fun you'll ever run. And I've never had as much fun since I dropped that team, and it always makes me sad.
I'm right there with Hatter though. Like when we were doing territory wars and I see a Night Sister wall, like I go for a shower, because it's like, give me bounty hunters, give me a Revan wall. I know what to do with that. Give me a Darth Revan wall, give me an EP, give me a Traya wall. I'm fine. Give me a Night Sister wall, and it's time. I got to go for a shower, because they're just so unpredictable. I think I've got it completely figured out, and I've got this team solved. Check the speeds, check the mods, I've got it all, and then I get smoked, and it just makes me.
And it's interesting because there's so many different ways you can mod Night Sisters, and they act differently, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you see everything from fast zombies to tanky zombies to to everything in between, and like I said, they behave differently. It's an interesting team. It's almost like Nest. I mean, the fast Nest versus the slow Nest. I mean, they both have their positives and negatives, and they're both hard to kill.
Hey V, do you have Jango Fett? If you're still online.
He's 6-starred, and I'm working on him if I could stop getting distracted. Yeah, he's gear 11, but he's 6-starred. Yeah.
So I think all of us here have L3 up at gear 12. L3 is amazing against Night Sisters if you pair her with a good Scoundrel team, and Jango with his unique Zeta is a Night Sister killer. Yeah,
that's the missing piece for me for sure. I keep looking at Zeta, but I then Darth Revan drops, and then Malak drops, and then. So.
Yeah,
I have heard that Brink about the Jango with both Zetas. Now, help me understand the mechanics on that, because I honestly, as Jango with the lead, have struggled with him a bit, mainly because the contract is so hard to get engaged.
So it's not a bounty hunter team, it's a Scoundrel team. So let me I'm gonna go through my account here, pull up some Scoundrels. So you don't have to run Jango lead. I do just for the speed buff. And you need his unique Zeta so that he permakills.
Right.
And then the primary components are L3, and then an additional heal helps. So L3 has a fantastic heal for all Scoundrel and droids of 50% of her max health. I think a good third character to throw in that many people have, because I think he was a kind of an easy gear, and a lot of people did it to solo the tank, is Young Han. He throws damage and he can give people protection, but what he really brings to the team is he is really easy to get prepared. I think you just have to attack somebody with like less than 50% turn meter, and he'll be prepared. And what that does is when L3 uses her heal, if there's another prepared ally, it reduces the cooldown by 1. So she can heal every other turn. She can heal the whole Scoundrel team every other turn. And so you can clean up Plague really easily. So those are 3 slots, and then the other 2 slots are just anybody else that synergizes well. So I have a Captain Han at Gear 12. He makes perfect sense because it's an additional heal. And all I really have to do is wait for Jango Fett to just kill people.
Yeah.
Who else
work
do you see running in that comp? I mean, my Captain Han's not that great. He's about 13.
You can run it with I mean, if you can spare Boba Fett, I know Boba's important in like a defense team under Bosk, but Boba is another good one because he's got execute. IG-88 throws out a lot of damage on AOE. I've run it with Lando and Stormtrooper Han as well, and it worked. So
Badash from our guild is a big bounty hunter fanatic, and he's got the double Zeta Django. And he said when he fights Night Sisters, it's a smoke show. Like he just decimates them. It's not even close. He said it's never called into question. He said he just absolutely wipes the floor with Night Sisters. It's his favorite team to attack in the territory wars because he just destroys them with Django.
What are the Django odds lead? We could get Badash on this show because he makes them. I walk through our territory wars lineup sometimes just to kind of see what everybody's doing, and at least once a month I see something that Badash has done, and I'm like, God, like he's crazy. I'm not sure if we should keep him or kick him out for it, but I love it. It's the most brilliant I've ever seen because you'll never see lineups like that. And I feel like a part of me has died because I used to be like that until you people made me be a guild leader.
It's actually hilarious because Badash is actually the person that introduced me to this game, and he was very systematic. He's like, you need to do this first, and this is how you're going to build a strong roster, get to the top of your arena early. He was very systematic, and now he's like, I really like bounty hunters. He had a Gear 12 Grievous for like 18 months before the rework.
Nice. I love that.
He was just waiting.
I frequently remind him about the fact that you were the guy that put me on the straight and narrow about how to build an efficient an efficient team and an efficient group of characters, and now he's like he finds something he loves and he just dives into it full bore. It's hilarious.
I love, and in all seriousness, the comps are just brilliant, and that's why they stop me. You don't see all that much difference in a lot of the things we do on a daily basis. We copy each other. We try to come up with new things, but they're usually small. But he'll have like droids with Galactic Republic, and there'll be some small synergy that makes them work. But he's out there. He's thinking about it, and most importantly, he's not locked to the meta. He follows what his passion is, and I think stuff like that's really good for the guild. I think it's what makes us fun and special.
Agreed. Speaking of special, how about that guy who went YOLO on the the Too Many Hans wall and tested like 5 or 6 teams on it and videoed all of them? Myth.
Well, my job in TW
One Myth and Deer
give us a good start, so I figured I would give us a good start.
Hey, well, hold on. You just made me think of something. You mentioned about what are we going to do about DR with the with the Malak change, and I saw. I don't know if I read it or if it was me and Hawkins kind of talking about it. But
wait a second, you talked to Hawkins? You talk to the enemy?
I don't. He's not the enemy. We haven't been matched up with him yet. But they're talking about. Can they actually come up with some sort of a suicide squad to cripple DRs?
Well, that's a really good idea. I spend a lot of time. I put a lot on myself to make sure that we do well, and mostly because I just love being in this guild so much that I want it to survive forever. To think about the things that will keep us active and winning, and I try to think about things like that. But that's a great question because. If you can, that's one of the things I've noticed. You might not be able to beat them on the first shot, but you could cripple them and beat them on the second shot. CLS can't beat them straight up, especially with Malak now, but CLS can take out Bast and maybe DR or HK and make it feasible to take another 5-man squad and take them out. And so in like combination, you might be able to, work against that meta because they don't have a revive and there isn't a lot of, straight up healing from another like healing tube.
So speaking of, the Suicide Squad thing to cripple a Darth Revan team. First thing I thought was IPD, and then second thing I thought was this hilarious video that Celsi posted on the Wizard Discord server today. Did any of you guys see this? It's a General Grievous team.
No, I haven't seen this. I'm excited.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my god, it's
I actually put this in GA about 4 weeks ago. I got killed.
I'm sharing this with these guys. So for people listening, I'm sharing this with these guys over a WebEx. So I'm not sure if they'll get the right frame rate, but the recording will capture it. So anybody who is watching this battle is fantastic. So we've got General Grievous and some droids and T3 and BB-8 to give you the go first. And T3 does some stuff. IPD does some stuff. Everybody gets fear. Oh no. Oh no. This looks bad. He went after Malak. Oh, we've lost everybody. Everybody's almost dead. I don't think Oh my god, did you see that?
He was just...
Are you kidding me?
Oh.
That's hilarious.
We're going back to that. Okay, this AoE. I have to pause this at the right second. So we've got an 85,000, 84,000, 80, 88, and 87. This is the greatest AoE of all time.
How the hell did he mod that thing?
It's the best victory of all time.
I don't know. I don't even know how that works.
I think
And then-
IPD comes in and cleans up.
and it would never happen.
And then the best part is IPD should have died. Like, he's got a sliver of red health, and he just kills everybody. That's great.
I couldn't help but
When
think
was this video
on
posted?
the other team.
That was posted today. Let me look up
Hold on, break. Just give me a second, because we're supposed to do this because we're professional podcasters now. But this was posted today in the Robot Wizard, which is a great theory Discord server. Just a lot of good people. We have fun. We don't take it too seriously. And if you want to join, we're going to put the link in the description. And also, please subscribe to the channel, guys. We're starting to grow. And every one of you who does and shares it with your friends will give us the ability to get out there and to really help to revolutionize the game in theory and in the ways that a lot of people really focus on, but might not have their viewpoints shown. So please, like the video, subscribe, do all that stuff.
Okay, so we got that the funny suicide video out of the way. Can I show some of your battles where you tested out the stormtrooper? Or I don't know why I keep calling it the Too Many Hans team.
So this was I just decided to record them. I don't usually do this, and this is in a row. There's no editing here. This is a sequence of what I did, not necessarily in order. But yeah, let's do it.
I saw you post all of them, and like a good guildmate, I didn't watch them. So
you gotta be kidding me! I was doing it to help you guys find.
I know, and I did the boring thing and used Nest.
I'm like, everybody's gonna see these things, and they're gonna love them, and we're gonna beat this guild because I shared them with you, and you don't even watch them.
Okay, so as somebody who needs to know more teams to use to counter this, let me just follow along, and you tell me if I'm reading it right. So
okay,
that was a bad start. There's 2 Han shoots first. Is that right?
So all the Han shoot first. That's part of it.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
You didn't even read the kit, did you?
No, of course I didn't.
I love you guys.
Oh, okay. So I mean, you've got you have a Zeta Stark, that helps. So you throw the AOE, that always helps the beginning.
The
Defense
cooldowns
up.
were reduced.
Who are you gonna fracture? Okay, that one makes sense. You can you got a stun on okay, stun Chewie.
Wait, pause it for a second. Can we talk about how awesome Royal Guard is and why it's not talked about more? I almost want you to rewind to that part. All he does is stun people. So,
And he puts defense up too.
Call Royal Guard. He'll stun him. Chewie's a problem. Get out of here, Chewie. We're going to stun you, and you're not going to do anything for the rest of the match.
A lot of people have stun teams for Territory Wars and Grand Arena if they get stuck and have to like whittle down a team, and I don't see anybody ever use Royal Guard in those stun teams, and he's a great tank.
And he's a great he taunts dynamically. I have him G12 because why not? And well, you'll see through the rest of the battle.
So Krennic messes up Rebels pretty good.
Krennic's a great tune that's just not talked about. It's almost like he doesn't exist, but he does so many good things.
So this is a really defensive team, and you know you're going to rely on a buffed Death Trooper and Death Mark to get people out.
Don't forget that he double taps Rebels and stuns them.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I thought of was, well, you know, let's launch DT up and see what he can do.
No, this is a clever team. I mean, you don't think about Empire as being tanky, but it is. Like normally, if you think like, oh, what's the tankiest team you can think of that's not meta, and everyone is like, oh, Bosk, but
Brink, I'm being honest with you, people have forgotten about this lead because of the Imperial Troopers, and I know everyone loves the Troopers, but to me, this is better.
Does Thrawn have health regeneration on his lead?
There's no health. All right, so there's no health regeneration, but there's protection regeneration. But in that team, DT and DK get health regeneration from DT's unique. So, you know, with a normal Thrawn squad, no matter what you're running, if you have Shore, obviously you're going to get a health regeneration. Stark regenerates his own health, so there's a lot of good things going on.
So I don't have the same type of gear on my Empire characters, but if I ran Thrawn lead with Death Trooper and then, you know, tanky other Empire characters, I think I could take, depending on the gear level of the other team, I think I could try that. I would try that. That makes sense.
For the buffed TW, there's a rule we talk about in RR, like the 20K rule. If you're not sure and it's not a direct counter, find a team that's 20K less power than you, and you're going to have a good shot at taking them out, even though they're buffed and you're just using a normal squad.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Rex Wampa, Shays Shore, so this is another tanky.
Well, so Wampa kills a lot of rebels, right?
Yeah, Wampa is as anti-rebel as they get.
My first hate in this game, just deep hatred, was of Chase.
Oh man, and that was the first. I think that was the first team I used to climb up, and I hated. It was so terrible to play as. I really disliked it. I felt terrible. Like that's when I joined our arena shard. Is when I was running CLS Chase, and I felt so dirty because it was just cheesy.
I hated it so much. I came up with just crazy things. This is where it started for me in crazy things because I just had to figure out a way to beat them because I hated them so much.
Well, didn't we run? We ran Maul for a while with those two, didn't we? As one meta. I'm trying to remember. It was like a Maul, Chase Bays, and DN, and
I don't remember that.
I never ran Maul. That's one Zeta that I refused to do because I hated that period so much. It was the worst.
Yeah, I remember running it from like summer to Christmas.
Oh my goodness. I remember Maul with some Sith and then Kylo Ren standing out as kind of like a fake taunt because he's not stealthed.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm trying to remember that team though. I'm pretty certain it was Zeta Maul, Chase Bays, DN. That's what it was. It was DN and Thrawn. That's right.
You want to know what the best counter to the OG Kylo? Royal Guard. All he did was stun him. It was fantastic. It was like, first of all, I love the original movies, so there's a special place in my heart for Royal Guard. But every time he would start doing his stuff, Royal Guard, stun, sorry, see you later. You use the Zeta on him, doesn't matter, stun, see you later.
Gotta love a stun lock.
I do.
I think Myth makes a great point, though. I think if you're struggling in territory wars or in Grand Arena at all, the first thing you need to do is look at your collection and filter them by tanks, and look at what you're sitting there, because every team needs a tank. Really,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, you need to look at your tanks and make sure that you've got a sufficient number of tanks to put together the teams that you need to, whether it's offense or defense. At the end of the day, your big DPS guys are generally pretty squishy, and you need somebody to take those hits. So I think if you're struggling in territory wars or Grand Arena, that's the first thing you need to do is look at your collection, filter them by tanks, and have a look at that and deal with that problem first.
Hey V, what do you think the minimum viable gear level is for a tank?
10 at the minimum. I think 10. I feel between 9 and 10, there's a pretty big jump, and then 10 and 11 is a jump, and then obviously 11 to 12 is a massive jump. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're just looking for somebody to take the first few hits so that you can get your team rolling, 10, I would say.
Word.
That's the best single point I've heard anyone make about this game, and I can't remember how much. It's the basis of my strategy for my roster, and it's almost subconscious, but whenever I see a good taunting tank or especially dynamic taunting tank, I always G12 them, because when can't you use them? When we were trying to figure out the DR counters, I'd pop Baze in there. I don't use Baze in Arena anymore, but he taunts. He's a pre-taunter, so he just gave me something immediately there without anything else to do with his kit. So if you were to overlook that, here's the one thing I can tell you about GA that I've seen from my experience, that the difference between a lot of teams is whether they invest heavily in tanks. Because if I'm putting 5, 6, 7, 8 taunters in front of you, it makes it a grind. It makes it difficult for you to get through. And if you don't have them, I'm just going after your best character and killing them right away and whistling the whole time.
Well, it's exactly that, right? I mean, if you've got that taunter out there, you're not hitting who you want to hit. You're hitting the meat shield.
Yeah, I think I have a good example of this. I have a really crummy first order team, but I have the Zeta on crew just so that it has some legs, and that thing never holds. But I can put a Wigs team with Captain Han and Chase in there, and that one will surprise people. And I have a Gear 12 Chase.
Can we just talk about Fox for a second?
Yeah, so you pause this.
Could you rewind that?
Yeah.
Just go back to just what this is. All Fox does is just drop MFers. All he does is, okay, now it's time for you to die.
40K, 30K.
He's
a little bit like Wampa here, right?
I think he's better than Wampa. If I had to choose between the two, I would choose Fox every time.
I still don't have Fox geared at all.
It's just like, watch what he does. And they're tanky, so as long as they can survive, dead. And then Fu swaps the Fox, and then he just
32K. My goodness.
Once you get those stuns on him from carry, the resistible stun, it's over. You're gonna beat most teams. It's the least talked about faction. Anybody who has them great knows it. They use them for everything. They're a Swiss Army knife, and it's a giant advantage. And don't just gear them to gear 10 or 11. Gear them all the way, because you're gonna enjoy it every single day.
Oh my gosh! Whenever our guild goes into a first order wall in territory wars, I put the game away because I'm terrible against first order.
But you know what? What we've done as a guild is we've saved all of them for offense, because they beat so many different squads. There are a lot of teams that can't be beat except by certain things, but first order seems to beat them all. So when we get up against those bounty hunter walls or those Zeta light side Bastila walls, we got 45 of them sitting waiting to knock them out, and that's why we don't waste them on defense.
Yeah, it's a bit of a can opener team. I mean, they can open a lot of stuff. They can take care of a lot of stuff. I do have one question, Myth, for you on
today, which I think we need to trademark these. I love that term, can opener team. We're revolutionizing this game right now, fellas.
Hey, I got a question for you on First Order, though, Myth. You mentioned tanks and everything, and I typically, when I'm going after teams with FO, I usually use, KRU, OG Kylo, First Order officer, and then First Order SF TIE. And I usually use TIE in there mainly just so I can swap over to Fox. Now, I very seldom ever use my First Order Stormtrooper. I mean, what are your thoughts on First Order Stormtrooper? I mean, if you're on offense, do you typically use him or not, or is he strictly a GA or a Team War?
So
type tune?
I have that Zeta, and I really wanted to do it because I fell in love with this faction. I was kind of behind on the BB-8 stuff, so when I started doing this, I just was kind of looked for some balance on my roster. And instead of just getting to the Gear 8 and getting BB-8, I decided to go all in on him. And Faust is one of the first tunes that I really. It has such a great kit. There's so many cool things. He dispels himself, so he always taunts, but he counters and he assists. And Zeta is just amazing. It's never broken Arena, but it breaks everything else. So he gives you another layer of defense, and he adds a tremendous amount of offense. So there's really only a few tanks like him where they're balanced between offense and defense. He's fantastic. Whenever I go into a battle with First Order, I feel comfortable. When you go into a battle and you don't feel safe, you're not sure what's going to happen, you don't know if it's going to work.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, Night Sisters.
When say you're using a team that you're not comfortable with, this is a team where when you use them, if you have two taunters, no matter what happens in the opening volley, you start feeling safe. Well, Kylo will take some damage, and eventually he'll be starting to do some things. And when you need an assist, Fox is going to do it, and KRU is going to, he's going to taunt, and Fu is going to swap to Fox and give him Tanat. There's so many cool things here that I recommend that Zeta if you have nothing to do, because it's the least talked about but most crucial Zeta on my roster, I think.
Yeah, that Zeta gets I think a lot of people talk down on that Zeta, and I never understood why, because when my Faust is not well geared, but it's like one of those wish list tunes for me because the kit looks great, and I don't understand why people hate on it.
Well, I know in the last Team War, we went up against that one FO wall, and there was one First Order team that was maxed. It had all the Zetas on it, and I went after it with my JTR, and it was probably the only match that my JTR has been challenged. I mean, I won it, but it was close. And it was that exact. It was that exact team. I mean,
JTR is one of those win all the time as long as you don't hit the auto button and you control it.
Mm-hmm. But it was a very quick, all G12, all Zeta Fu team.
But if you think about it, it's almost four tanks, right? You've got Crew, and you've got Faust, but then you've got OG Kylo, who's regenerating protection and countering like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Fox, who's stacking health, and as he stacks health, is stacking damage. It's almost like a 4-tank team with the one Fu just swapping between them as needed. It's really a wall.
Yeah. I mean, granted, I used Resistance Trooper in that team, and I could have used something else, but yeah, it was not a gimme in any way, shape, or form. But I had it when I started looking at that team and looking at the mods and looking at the speeds. I was like, okay, better to go hard at this team than to, get surprised.
This is a Gear 11 TIE Fighter. It's such a great point. And one of the things I noticed about SF TIE Fighter is he has a really big protection pool for a TIE Fighter, for an attacker.
Mhm.
And if I ever made him Gear 12, which I want to at some point, it just there's a lot of things in the way. I mean, he'd have like 50, 60, 70,000 protection. You can't even take him down.
Yeah, well, I mean, mine. I'm looking at mine right now. He's got 52K on him,
Ooh.
and let's see. I'm trying to see how many protection mods I have on him. The only protection mods I have are a cross and a circle. Everything else is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I want to say I've done a bunch of battles where I scout out a first order team and look at the speed. You know, I'm like, okay, I got this, and walk in and I just like make a dent in the protection pool, and then they just, you know, like get retribution and give each other buffs, and before I know it, like I've got Xylo just going nuts on me, and then Fox will kill me, and then I have to like force quit the app.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of those teams you can get down pretty close, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you blink and they're back full health and gaining
Yeah.
protection on you.
Yeah, and the crew is like a mini Xeris. Like you can, if you don't bring the right characters in, you can get caught, and like you can get stuck and not be able to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
This team benefits from 6-dot health mods a lot. I was just showing Fox, and I'm missing a mod also, but they have high health pools and they have a lot of mechanics that work with health. So right now, this is with missing a mod, and because I'm probably playing around with something, but he still has 40K health. He recovers a percentage of his damage, a percentage of his health every time he's damaged. And if you pair him with Xeris, then that jumps up to like 20%. And so don't sleep on those health primaries. It's not just about speed, protection, defense, health. The 6-dot mods they have so many uses, and if you spread them out and you create this diverse group of them, you have so many options depending on what comes at you in the meta.
Yeah. On my KRU, I'm running double health and a set of defense mods,
I guess
which jumps his armor up by almost 11%.
So while we're spiraling down this rabbit hole, let's talk about a counter for Ewoks. Just if they're equivalent, just destroy First Order. They're unbelievable against First Order. The Murder Bears, I swear to God, everybody kind of overlooks them, and the Murder Bears will just decimate First Order. It's beautiful.
Where are yours at, V? Like gear level wise?
They're 11. I've got Wicked at 12. The rest of them are 11.
Okay.
And not great mods. I do have the Zeta on Chirpa.
Right.
It's the only one, but it's unbelievable. They throw that daze up, and then they just go and go and go and go. The only time if I run into like a maxed First Order team, I've timed out in Territory War with just like crew standing there potentially.
Yeah, I've done the same thing.
But I mean, if I max them out and brought them to the equivalent Gear 12s, it wouldn't be a problem at all. They're everybody overlooks the Murder Bears, but let me tell you, it's a good team.
Who do you call with Wicket's assist attack?
Depending, it'll either be low gray or Papu. Depends if I need to cleanse or if I just want to hit hard.
Right.
So let's flip it around a little bit. What do you guys consider the easiest win against Ewoks?
That's a great question.
That's a good question.
I wonder. I think about that, and I come up with something. But here's what I will tell you: every time I've underestimated them, I've lost.
Well, it's easy to do, I guess. But in GA or TW, you kind of want to get through with the minimum requirement. So what's the key to finding that team?
Night Sisters. And anything, because they assist so often, they kill themselves. It's much like the JTR. I find that's
no. I disagree. I tried Night Sisters against Ewoks and got it started off well, and then I think there was one move where I made a misstep, and Ewoks started giving themselves turn meter and healing up, and there was nothing I could do.
It's got to be the Mother Talzin lead for sure.
Right.
You need the plague to spread, and then they kill themselves, much in the same way I find the JTR. But other than that, you just got to be bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you can. I usually my answer is, I typically try I use budget teams before hitting the Ewoks, and then I'm like if I'm left with the triumvirate, I'll just use those three and win. But
yeah, that'll work. Or Thrawn, you fracture Wicket and the team's lost.
Well, see,
those are heavy characters.
Yeah. I've tried. I mean, I've had good luck with like Thrawn, Nest, and just fodder.
Yeah, but again, those are heavy. Those are heavy characters. Like that's a big character to throw at an Ewok team. Like there isn't like a. I guess we're just not giving the Ewok faction the credit it deserves because we're like, well, it kind of sucks to throw good characters at them, but they're good, so you need to.
Well, I mean, if my opponent in GA doesn't throw a Phoenix down, or I mean, sorry, if they throw a Phoenix down, I'll solo them with Nest. If they don't throw a Phoenix down, then I don't mind using Nest in an Ewok, against an Ewok team.
Right.
But you got to give it a little bit of an edge and a little bit of protection because you really need to get. I just spaced on the character. It's Ewok Elder. You got to get him down, and then it's a cakewalk from there.
You know what I did in it's interesting you say this because I've had a theory about this for a while. Remember when that Ewok event came out and it was really hard? What's the name of it? You had to run Empire against the Ewoks, and there was one of those 8 battle events, and at the end they didn't hit as hard, but it just took forever to get through it.
Oh yeah, because you get dazed.
Right, that's right, exactly. And so Logray is what I think is the most important part of that team because nothing drives me more crazy than his AoE days. And so I was kind of trying to split my lineups in GA today, and so what I did was I put Logray in with the triumvirate.
Hey, Logray is a fantastic plug-and-play character because he brings AoE days. I mean, that's such a valuable mechanic.
I wanted to run him in arena against you guys at some point, and it was an idea I had, and just things moved in a way that it didn't work out. And I was looking for a last tune to plug in today. I'm like, you know what? Let me just throw him in here and see how it works.
I mean, speaking of that, it seemed like it'd be better in the Scoundrel team.
It could work anywhere. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. He's one of those. He doesn't look like one of those tunes that are plug and play into a lot of factions, like say Rex or Wampa or Nest. But I think he is, and you're losing an opportunity because AoE days there's nothing that makes you groan more than getting AoE dazed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, we talked about we joked about the asshole team that I mentioned, or we were, V was talking about earlier. It's like, that one is mainly just a pain in the ass because it's so tough. But I wonder if you could put together, a group of dazers, in GA and how that would hold up.
Oh, that's a great idea. Or how about a whole wall of dazers in TW?
What would that? What's that team look like? And would it have harmful effects with your other teams? I guess.
So it's Maul lead.
I was just going there too. Sith Trooper for the pre-taunt.
Nest. You have to have Nest.
Right.
Nest.
Wampa.
Logray.
Oh, that team kind of sounds dirty.
Isn't it weird that a lot of the AoE dazers, not a lot, but 2 of them, Nest and Wampa, are free agents, sort of?
Yeah.
Like, I know Nest fits in a lot of lineups, but she's used so many places. Like, we use these tunes and we think they're great because they AoE days and they can fit into any squad.
What about
Logray gets left out in the cold?
Yeah. What about those 4 with B2? Because B2 basically then they can't gain.
Dude, you've blown my mind right now. My mind has literally blown up. I think we need to try that and we need to present it to the public.
I don't know. It was maybe one of those things that sounds good and just is shit, I don't know.
Hey, Myth, can you bring up B2?
Mine? Sure.
Well, yeah, I just want to read the kit. I'm very unfamiliar with it. All I know is it gets that stupid barrage thing if you touch anybody and it takes a turn.
This is one of the tunes that I've always wanted to gear, and I just never did it. But I respect you, B2. And
I feel like you need one serious DPS threat in that team to make it work, though.
That's exactly what's missing from it. 100%. Grievous hits, but it's just they need somebody who, in this meta, you need somebody who hits for 30 to 50K to really make a difference.
Well, it's the mow down feature of B2 that I was thinking about. You know what I mean? It's basically you're gonna physical damage to all enemies and dispel all positive status effects on them, with an 80% chance to also inflict buff immunity for 2 turns.
So you'll dispel, probably put buff immunity, and then they're going to be constantly receiving days.
Yes.
What a
it's
pain
not
in the
it's
ass.
not a win team. It's more
No,
of
it's a timeout.
It's just a timeout team.
Yeah. It's
And so you
like hope
combine
they
that
throw
with
some fodder and
endless
lose.
turn meter. I mean, I feel like there's a lot more room for him in this game in every meta because of what he does. He just takes endless turns and dispels people. And one of the things about the Jedi Knight Revan era that there are 2 different types of dispellers, AoE dispellers. One is signed and the other is B2 Super Battle Droid. And that is whether they can clear through Foresight or not. And he can't, and it hurts him so much. If he could just clear through Foresight, this might be one of the best tunes in the game. So, fellas, listen, it's been a good time. We're running out of time here, and I think it's time to wrap up. But this is the first of many, kind of town hall type of meetings that we hope to do. Our original idea for this podcast wasn't to just show 1 or 2 person, but to bring on the teammates and friends and people we love in this game, to bring their excellent points of view. And if you go into the Robot Wizard Discord server, you're going to meet these people and you're going to grow to care and love them as much as we do. But more importantly, find yourself entertained because of these great minds that are bringing these skills to this game. And it's the thing I absolutely love about this game the most and why I keep playing it. So I want to say thank you to Vyurr and MadHatter for coming on, and always to the host, Brink, for just kind of keeping the show on the rails and just showing us our path and our way. And thanks guys for listening and liking and subscribing. We noticed we doubled our views from our 3rd episode, and we just want to get this out there and show what we care about in this game to you, and hopefully get a chance to talk to you and meet you.
Thanks, Smith.
Yeah, good talk tonight, guys. That was some cool stuff. I think we still have some room maybe next week to complain more about Malak and how we're gonna find a really cheesy counter to the new meta Darth Revan teams. But this was fun.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoyed it a lot. I think Ugnaugh's going to be the key.
It's amazing that we started out trying to make this episode about how pissed we were about that nerf, and then all of a sudden we just kind of we ended up in Oz. Every person who shows up in the Robot Wizard, I said, "Welcome to Oz," and that's why we just end up in weird places.
Hey, all I know is if Rose is part of the solution, I'm quitting the damn game.
Oh, I'm signing.
There's a new movie coming out. We got to farm her.
Me and Rose.
We got to farm her. There's a new movie coming out with her in the timeline. So,
oh God,
is that going to be the next unlock character?
It'll be Princess Rose, probably.
Oh.
There's no doubt she's the next unlock character.
Oh my God.
We're going to call her Tummy Tuck Rose. Sorry, it's late.
Yeah.
Well, on that, Brink, take us out of here.
All right, guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked this content and want to be updated for our future videos. Again, please join our Discord server if you want to join in the fun, and we'll see you in the next video.